With a thank you to Tom for volunteering to work with us on what we're initially labeling the fear of public speaking, but soon discovered that the core issue behind it is a blown graduation speech. Tom made a graduation speech years ago, blew it, forgot his lines, everything, and had a horror about it ever since, and it's affected his whole life up until this point of this session. This is the first of many sessions that you will see where we start dealing with the diagnostic procedures that these tapes are unfolding for you. And a few things I'd like to have you notice about it. One of them is, and you'll see it not only in this session, but in many other sessions that occur, is I have a real advantage here in knowing where I am with psychological reversal. You will see as this session with Tom unfolds, as he, for example, is correcting the psychological reversal, I'm doing this right along the way, and I'm assessing whether or not he's getting beyond it, and I'll know right away whether he's one affirmation through it and we're done, we can just stop right there and keep going. Or another time you'll see I'm going like this and I'm going like, and as he's doing the affirmation, and he's just not getting by it. He's just not getting by it. Very helpful to know, because I don't have to go through the whole entire process before I finally learn he didn't make any headway. So after that, we do after I know he's not making headway, we'll do the affirmation, the reversal correction more emphatically, and we can break right through it, and off we go. Also, as you might expect with this kind of an issue, there are many, many, many aspects. I counted at least 5. And please note how we cut right through them and don't have to go through the entire mechanical process to get right there to where we want to be. The other thing I want to point out about this is that I'm using my intuition along the way. And one of the things we're doing here is I'm rubbing the sore spot, and I'm letting just come out of my mouth whatever happens to occur to me. And one of the things that comes out is the idea that he's been hiding behind this issue for his entire life. And that hit home with him. And it was only after that we really made the major headway involved for him. I talked with Tom about 2 or 3 weeks after this session, and he had experienced a life-changing freedom as a result of all of this. Anyway, here's Tom. Let's be very quiet and stare, okay? He has a fear of public speaking. Be very quiet. Be very quiet and stare at him. Now, you're supposed to sit up here and shake for me, okay?
All right. I think I can do that. Truly an awesome crowd,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you were up here just a moment ago, and before people sat down, I said, did you have any intensity? And you said no at the point. But how is it now?
No, it's such a very welcoming and amazing group. I feel very honored just to be up here. So
okay.
And I don't have an agenda that I have to. I have a better regard for what you go through.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how is it right now?
Oh, it's a good 9 and.
Oh, is it?
And climbing.
Yeah. There's something useful in testing, you know. How do you know it's a 9? First of all, do this. Turn your chair. Just face me so you don't face them for the moment,
right.
Okay? By the way, I want to point something out. One thing I could do here is just having faced the audience, and chances are all of our disruptions are front and center aspects where and we start tapping as he faces the audience. And don't know it for sure, but experience tells me we would have a fairly short order on it. I don't know that, but experience tells me probably so. But for the moment, I want to go in a different direction because there's other things we can do along the way. But what I wanted to know is, when you said you were a 9 a minute ago, how did you know you were a 9? Was the heart beating? Was your...
I would feel a tension, just a general kind of a high mercury feeling, an anxious feeling,
an
anxiety feeling.
But it doesn't manifest with a beating heart or flushing in the face or itching or something.
No, I'm not conscious of physical reaction.
All right. Are you a 9 at the moment now that you're facing me?
Well, I'm 8 to 9, right?
Okay. All right. All right. What I'd like to do here is just try to take the edge off it, okay, if we can. And so I'm going to diagnose here, okay? And I'm coming up short, which means we have psychological reversal, okay? So you need to tap right here, and say, even though I feel anxious right now.
Even though I feel anxious right now.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, now tap right here. I'm sorry. I've got to teach this. Hold on a second. Okay, tap here. Okay. Tap the side of your eye. Tap under your eye. On a scale of 0 to 10, are you still an 8?
6.
A 6, okay. All right. The other day we did some, well, I'm going to tell you what I did, okay, just so you know. He only did the PR affirmation one time, right? Okay, that's because as he was doing that, I was asking myself, is the PR clear? One round through it, and I found PR was clear, so we stopped doing it. Why do two more rounds of it if I find it clear? You know, okay. But roughly a 6. Okay. Yesterday you were doing some deep breathing, and you said your breath was a little bit restricted. Okay.
A little bit.
All right, do it for me now. We're going to take a deep breath, but do it with me, and then give me a number, if it's still restricted, where 10 is the optimum and 7 is, or something below that is whatever you are. Okay. You ready?
All right.
Okay. What number would you give that?
Well, I was saying 8 out of 10 positive.
Okay, 8 out of 10. Okay, so you felt there's a little more there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. See, I don't find him reversed now on getting over or improving his breathing area. And I'm going at the breathing instead of directly at the fear of public speaking, and you'll see why. You go on. Okay. But anyway. Okay. Tap under your nose and say breathing problem.
Breathing problem.
Say constricted breathing.
Constricted breathing.
Okay. Side of your eye, constricted breathing.
Constricted breathing.
Under your eye, constricted breathing.
Constricted breathing.
Collarbone point, constricted breathing.
Constricted breathing.
Under your arm, constricted breathing.
Constricted breathing.
Okay. Take a deep breath again. Just put an 8.
Well, that's pretty much full breath.
Is it a 9 or 10?
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Okay. All right. There was a time, you told me that before we got up here, when you were, how old were you when you forgot your speech in front of the whole class?
I was a graduating class, so I was a senior. It must have been 18.
Must have been age 18.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you don't have any tension about that.
That started it all.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't tell.
It was an extemporaneous speech, and I got up there, and there was no notes or anything else, and there was a whole audience. And
as you talk about that now, are you still a 6? Did you go to an 8, 10?
No, I can really feel that embarrassment, tension. I just like to have gotten out of there. Yeah.
All right. Even though I was embarrassed.
Even though I was embarrassed.
And had all that tension. I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Even though I was embarrassed.
Even though I was embarrassed.
And had all that tension.
I
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely
I love and forgive myself.
I love and forgive myself.
For all that it represents.
For all that it represents.
See, I'm not getting by reversal here at all, okay? And that's important for me to know. That's very important for me to know, because I'm not getting by reversal, which suggests to me lots of things, like maybe we need to go into the deserve area. Maybe I need to have him say it much more emphatically. Maybe we need to, do the sore spot. Okay. See, I'm just not. I have 3 rounds and I didn't get by it. Okay. So you know where the sore spot is? Okay. Find it for me.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. And rub that and say, even though I was embarrassed. Even though I was embarrassed, I deeply and completely accept myself.
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 No. I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay, now under your eye.
Yeah,
under your eye, and say this embarrassment.
This embarrassment.
Okay, under your nose, this embarrassment.
This embarrassment.
Chin point, this embarrassment.
This embarrassment.
Okay. Close your eyes for a moment and go back to that scene where you were embarrassed and tell me what number you get to.
Actually living that experience, at the moment I forgot the thing, I am about a 6.
About a 6. Yeah, I didn't take it as such to begin with. What would you have been before we did this? Could you guess at it?
Oh, I would have been max.
Just thinking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Rub the sore spot. Even though I still have some of this, is embarrassment the right word, by the way?
That was one word, right?
Okay, what's another word you use?
Just complete horror of what was happening to me.
Even though I still have some of this complete horror.
Even though I still have some of this complete horror.
Of being totally embarrassed.
Of being totally embarrassed.
In front of everyone.
In front of everyone.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Eyebrow point. Total horror. Side of your eye. Embarrassment. Say
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment. Under your eye. Total horror.
Total horror.
Under your nose. Embarrassment.
Embarrassment.
Okay. See, now I got the thermometer going. I still see a 3 or 4. I haven't asked him to close his eyes yet. That's just what I see. Okay, right or wrong is just what I see. Okay, but we're not reversed on it at the moment. So here we go. Tap under your eye and say remaining embarrassment.
Remaining embarrassment.
Remaining horror.
Remaining horror.
Okay. Under the nose, remaining embarrassment.
Remaining embarrassment.
Okay. Close your eyes and go back at it again, and
See that experience?
see it again and tell me what number you're at.
3.
3. Okay. How do you know you're 3? What's the difference?
I just don't have a level of anxiety or tension about it.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. We're not reversed now. Okay. Is anything as you're imagining? Is anything else coming up in the scene you're imagining that wasn't there before?
Just that I realize that feeling has permeated, an awful lot of my life since then, and I can identify that same feeling. Although I don't think about the graduation speech, but I think about the horror or the embarrassment or.
Take a deep breath for me. Tell me if it's still at 10 or whatever.
That was easy full breath.
That was easy full breath. Okay. Say, tap right there. First of all, we're up here. Even though blowing that speech is screwing up my life.
Even though blowing that speech is screwing up my life.
Has screwed up my life.
Has screwed up my life.
Is screwing up my life.
Is screwing up my
and
life.
And if I don't get over this, will continue to screw up my life.
If I don't get over this, it will continue to screw up my life.
I deeply completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I love and forgive myself.
I love and forgive myself.
For all the things that this allows me to hide behind. Okay, now look at me.
That was very key.
Okay, right here. Under your nose, remaining, screwing up my life.
Screwing up my life.
Okay. Screwing up my life.
Screwing up my life.
Screwing up my life.
Screwing up my life.
Okay, go ahead and imagine it again, would you? And tell me what you come up with.
Well, that experience is not effective. Is very, very low, or
okay.
1 or 2. But the screwing up my life is very much.
Well, we don't have a new issue, do we?
Well, that is,
Okay, screwing up your life.
I think hiding behind that, allowing myself to avoid.
Okay, I picked the right words.
Yeah.
You know where those words came from, by the way? They were not rehearsed. They just showed up and fell out of my face. And those words came up, and previously all those words would come up, and I'd say, well, don't say that. It's not tactful or something like that. But I don't do that anymore. I let them just flow right out. And I'm not always right. Sometimes I'll even offend somebody with what I say, but that's not very often. I'm right enough that I hit the hammer on the nail on the head or whatever. Well, see, screwing up my life is a big broad thing, but that particular contributor to screwing up your life doesn't seem at the moment to be wrong.
No.
Okay, why don't you turn and look at the audience and tell me on a scale of 0 to 10 if it goes up, your anxiety or anything.
No more than when I was looking at you.
Okay, why don't you ask them if they're awesome?
Are you awesome?
Yeah!
There's a lot of power there.
What would be a way to test this so that we can even go to a different level and see if there's something left, if you will, that we haven't taken care of, at least as far as this issue is concerned. Mm-hmm. We're not going to take care of your whole life.
I would say
if we had 5 more minutes, we would, but we're not.
To start speaking before a group.
Well, okay. Why don't you do this? Why don't you? And if you get intense, it's okay. So we're trying to. But what I'd like to have you do is pick out a movie you've seen recently you liked and tell them what the movie was about. Now, are you tense even thinking about that?
Okay, yeah. There's a performance anxiety that really comes
up.
Oh,
okay. All right. On a scale of 0 to 10.
Am I going to forget what I'm going to say?
On a scale of 0 to 10, what would you label that performance anxiety?
Well, it's
right
9
now.
when I start to access what am I going to say and what's the best
Okay.
movie. And
Okay.
well,
Right here. Right here. Right here. Even though I haven't a clue what I'm going to say,
even though I don't have a clue what I'm going to say.
and I'm as anxious as I can possibly be,
and I am anxious.
as I can possibly be,
As I can
and I wish
possibly
I
be.
could sit down
And I wish I could sit down
and hide behind this issue once again.
and hide behind this issue once
I
again.
deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Okay. Under your nose, hiding behind this issue.
Hiding behind this issue.
Side of your eye, hiding behind this issue.
Hiding behind this issue.
Okay. What is it now?
Well,
A number one.
more comfortable. All right, 3. 3
Oh,
or 4.
3.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, well, I'll take that.
But I still haven't found that movie yet, and I keep
Well, all right.
any moment I have here, I'm trying to what movie.
Well,
am I
what
gonna
movie
talk
have you
about,
seen
know?
recently? Just name a movie. You can do that, or can you?
Let's see. I'm really kind of blocking on last movies. Well, let's see.
Your wife can help you.
I know she can, but let me do this myself.
While you're
Yeah.
done.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Even though I can't even remember a damn movie.
Even though I can't remember a movie.
A damn movie.
A damn movie.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I've been hiding behind this thing so long,
I've been hiding behind this thing so long.
and I'm so comfortable hiding behind it,
I'm so comfortable hiding behind it.
I'm ready to let it go.
I'm ready to let it go.
I can now remember a movie.
I can now remember a movie.
Remembering 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 a movie.
Remembering
Remembering a movie.
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 Sorry. Remembering a movie.
Movie. Remembering a movie.
You don't have to remember a movie.
Okay, well, we've seen about 5 recently, and this is ridiculous. Nicholson's movie, gosh, As Good as It Gets, right?
As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, a great movie about
Did
an
you like
obsessive
it?
compulsive.
Listen,
I liked it.
Listen, I saw the movie myself. What was your favorite scene? That had Helen Hunt in it.
Yeah. I kind of like. I marveled that he could be driving and carrying on the conversation he did when they were driving in the convertible.
Okay.
I just kind of marveled at that.
All right, as you're talking about it, you just follow me, okay? Just kind of keep one eye on me, but as you're talking about it, just tap here. So you were marveling at how he did what?
I just was amazed that he could drive and carry on that kind of a conversation and still pay attention to the traffic.
Over here, over here. When he was driving in the car, I don't remember him driving in the car with
Yeah,
her.
he was
Did he?
in the convertible when they took the trip. Forgotten where they were going. But,
Okay. All right. Where's the source point? So even though I have anxiety here, I'm not even in touch. Wait a minute. Even though I have all this anxiety.
even though I have
you're
all
more
this
than a 3 at the
anxiety.
moment.
Yeah.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely.
Even though I have all this anxiety,
Even though I have all this anxiety.
and I'm most uncomfortable,
And I'm most uncomfortable.
and I deserve to get over this,
And I deserve to get over this.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept
Okay,
myself.
deserving to get over this, right there.
Deserve to get over this.
I deserve to get over this.
I deserve to get over this.
I deserve to get over this. Check
I
it out.
deserve.
I deserve to get
I
over
deserve
this.
to get over this.
I deserve to get over
I
this.
deserve to get over this.
I 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 deserve to get over
I
this.
deserve to get over this.
I 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 deserve to get over this.
Okay. Even though I still have some of this problem left,
Even though I still have some of this problem left,
I deeply completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I love and forgive myself,
I love and forgive myself,
and I forgive everyone who teased me.
and I forgive everyone who teased me.
From the point of my graduation speech
From the point of my graduation speech
to this point.
to this point.
Under your nose, people teasing me.
People teasing me,
People looking down on me.
people looking down on me,
People looking down on me.
people looking down on me,
People looking down on me.
people looking down on me,
People looking down on
people
me.
looking down on me,
People looking down on me.
people looking down on me.
Okay. Do you remember the scene with Helen Hunt?
The one, well, there were several.
Yeah, I know. I know there were several,
Right.
but there was one particular one.
Was it the sexual scene? Was it? Or yeah, Yeah, you know, and I've kind of blocked that out. I'm right now.
We have another problem to tackle.
Yeah, right. Could well be. Could well be. Yeah.
It was the one where Greg Kinnear was drawing her picture.
Oh, that's right. Right. I do remember that very well. Yeah, that was a good scene.
She was
yeah.
semi-clothed.
Right. She was unclothed. Yeah. Well,
Semi-clothed.
draped in a towel. Yeah. She's
Anyway.
come from a bath with a towel.
What is your anxiety right now? Look out the aisle.
Well, three or four. I'm not anxious right now.
How
But
do you-
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I couldn't remember movies that we've seen.
Oh, okay, well, that's only because you had a disruption in your energy system, was all that. What other movies have you seen?
Oh, Wings of the Dove?
Wings of the Dove, I didn't see that one. What else you seen?
Titanic and Amistad. Both great movies, and I recommend them heartily.
Okay. Okay. Even though I still have some anxiety.
Even though I still have some anxiety.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
And your note, remaining anxiety.
Remaining anxiety. Well, I feel better.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just saw 0 1 somehow there. Okay. Anybody have questions for him? His experience? Oh, please ask him questions. This is part of a test. Go ahead, Marty.
What was your favorite movie? All those you saw.
I think Titanic.
Why so?
I think I relate to the ocean. I relate to the graphics. I relate to what happened. I think I always had a fascination with
I had not seen the movie. How does it start?
Well, it starts with actually the loading of the ship and the departure and excitement, and it also goes back to a woman who is on board that is recovered. Actually, it goes back. It starts with an underwater submersible going down into the wreckage on the bottom of the ocean, and then it develops from there into the England loading of the ship and all the excitement about the ship and the flamboyance of the occasion, and then it progresses.
Yeah.
The story.
Wasn't there an old woman in there that?
Pardon?
Wasn't there an old woman that
Yes.
told the story or something?
She was
I've
the
only
one
seen that on
they
TV.
discovered that had been on board, and
True life?
I don't think that was good storyline. I don't think that actually was true, but it fit in very well.
Thank you for a great speech.
Betsy had a comment.
Can you see a situation in the future where you either need to or want to be in front of an audience?
I can see, yes, occasions where I will be addressing small groups.
When's the next one coming up?
It will be probably in April.
April. Would you close your eyes a second? And imagine yourself in front of that group and tell me what anxiety you get.
Right now, thinking about it, about a 4.
Okay. Thank you, Betsy. Here, what is the name of the group? Or some way you can identify it.
I'm just, I took an early retirement, and now I'm just going back with a competing bank in a trust position, and I will be talking to a group of people in that department.
And like their department heads or something? Or,
Yeah,
or,
most likely.
Okay. How many people there?
Should be 14 or so.
14 or so.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll be introduced as a new person coming in. That'll be the first experience for.
Even though I'm brand new at this group, I'm brand new with this group.
Even though I'm brand new in this organization.
And I have concerns about replaying my graduation speech.
And I have concerns about replaying my graduation speech.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I let the horror go because that was in the past.
I let the horror go because that's in the past.
And I'm going to use this as a way to get beyond it.
And I'm going to use this as a way to get beyond it.
And I will. Go ahead. And I will.
And I will.
Let it go.
Let it go.
We're letting it go.
Letting it go.
Speaking at the bank.
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 Close your eyes and go through that again and tell me what number you get to.
About speaking at the bank?
Yeah.
Very comfortable. I would like to do it right now.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Any other questions for Tom? Otherwise, here we go back here. Yeah.
If it's okay with you, Tom, I wonder if you might want to just address one other aspect I don't think that was processed, and that is, would you be willing to think about the next time you have to give a speech where you start to talk, and in fact, the very thing that you're most afraid of happens, that you just can't remember what to say, and you fall flat on your face in terms of you just can't remember anything, and you're feeling foolish about it, or just...
Thank you. Let me pick up that just a little different way if I could.
Okay, sure.
Assuming that what he just talked about, and there you are, and suddenly you just forget what you were going to say, what are you going to do?
Yeah, accept myself. Well, I usually protect myself now with notes. But in an extemporaneous situation like that, that's a good question, because that is that fear. If you're going around in a group and introducing yourself, and you just have to talk off the top, I get a rush of that same feeling. I don't have it right now, no.
Oh, okay.
No, but I can anticipate it coming as that people start coming closer to me.
You may or may not have it. One of the things that happens with these processes, and I don't know that, we only know when you get in the real situation,
right.
Okay, is that oftentimes people think they're going to have something because that's the way it's always been. And they've never done that without it having it happen. And you may get there and all of a sudden somebody asks you a question, for example, that you're unprepared for.
Yes.
Which is the same kind of circumstance.
Yeah, right.
And you may find, well, let me ask you, if somebody asks you a question you're totally unprepared for. Tom, what do you think about the Baltimore Orioles?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Well,
how are you going to respond?
It's easy for me. I'll just say, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about them. And I don't have any problem with that. But
well, did you get
if you'd asked me about, what's my approach to estate planning?
What is your approach to estate planning?
That would be
what is your approach to estate planning? Tell me.
All right. Well, my poor choice, wasn't it?
This is also testing your. By the way, before you go on, we have what I call a daisy chain here, because we can go on and on and on, because we have a life issue. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do was to explain to you, or show you the technique for an isolated issue, that is the graduation speech, etc. But we can go on, and with almost all of us, we can daisy chain and daisy chain and daisy chain. Okay. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, it's an individual situation, and it depends on your individual assets and that sort of thing. It's a process that I would go through with an individual, but it isn't really something you could explain as a theory.
Well, I tell you something. I used to be an estate planner, so you can explain it to me. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you gather the facts, and then you assess the proportionate where they fall, and then you look at the goals and the objectives and the age.
How do you feel as you're saying that at the moment?
Pretty comfortable. I've been away from it for a few years, but it would come back.
All right. We probably have. I'm getting a 2 in my thermometer, and that's what I'm getting.
That's probably very close, right?
Okay. All right. Okay. We have another question, Dr. Tiller. Wait, Bill.
Sorry. Again, just an add-on to this kind of thing. There is an interesting process that I stumbled on some years ago, which you can use to condition the way, and that is ahead of this particular occasion. You can sit quietly with yourself, let's say with your eyes closed, almost in a meditative state, and visualize yourself with these people, and they're sitting at the table, and if you're sitting at the table with them, and then you visualize a stream of radiance from your heart to their hearts, and then let's say a back stream from their solar plexus to yours, and there might be stuff coming along that, but you just keep pumping, and you just keep pumping, and you pump out white light, and you pump in whatever is coming, and eventually that process will be all white light. And so you have in fact conditioned the event to come, but you've also made yourself comfortable with respect to that process, because you recognize the coupling that you have set in motion.
Very helpful.
Good, thanks, Bill. A couple. One more question here. Then wait. Not yet. One more question, and then I got a couple things I want to do before we close for lunch. Go ahead.
What I usually do at where he ended up, where he said something about I'd like to do it right now, is I would have him imagine doing it and then do some more taps.
Yes, and we can continue. That would be called testing your work, and we keep testing and keep testing and keep testing. But all I wanted to do in this case, well, first of all, do this for me. Close your eyes. Well, first, before you close your eyes, take a deep breath. Tell me what number that is.
Oh, 9:10.
9:10. Okay. All right. Now, go back to the graduation speech. Okay. Imagine that, but this time imagine it. In fact, I want you to do it this way. Okay. Open your eyes a second. I'd like to have you go out that door so you're not here. Okay. With anybody looking at you, and you have none of the pressures of being on stage. Go out there. Take your time. Imagine it, and literally try to get yourself upset. And literally take the voices you heard and the sounds you heard, make them louder. Make the scenes brighter, bigger, whatever you can do to make yourself upset. Go out there and try that, and in a few minutes, try it whenever you come back in. Whatever number you get to, let me know. Okay?
All right.
And in the meantime, I'm going to cover a thing or two here. The most important criteria there is in being able to do the surrogate muscle testing well is to get yourself out of the way. See, we don't have somebody else here and all those other problems involved where we have inaccuracies with one-on-one muscle testing. If you get yourself out of the way, then that's the only criteria you have to worry about yourself. And all the rest of the mechanics fall in place. If you let it go through you rather than by you, yes, through you rather than by you. And I want to give you an example or two in my life to show you how that shows up for the purposes of having you figure out or you tune in to parallel examples in your life, okay, where you got yourself out of the way. One of the areas in my life where I got myself out of the way was I played 8 years of football. Okay? And I was one of those guys that would run with the ball. By the way, I used this body, okay? although what was here was up here at the time. But when somebody gives you a football and asks you to run through the line with all those arms and legs moving around and 11 people are trying to tackle you and put your nose into the ground, etc., you cannot sit there and think about what you're going to do. You can't run in there and say, well, I'm going to put my one foot here, and then if somebody comes here, somebody comes there, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. You're dead the minute you try that. You have to get yourself out of the way. Those of you who play any kind of sports know to be proficient, you must get yourself out of the way, and the more you get yourself out of the way, the more proficient you're going to be, are you not? That's the process working through you rather than by you. Another example I want to give you, which was in sports, was years ago I used to play tennis, but I was never that good a tennis player. A tennis club about a B- player. And there was a fellow that I would play tennis with once in a while. His name was Mark Wolfson. Mark was a weightlifter. I mean, he had big chest and big arms, and he would wiggle that tennis racket around like it was a toothpick, okay? And I could stay on the court with him except for his serve. I mean, he would end up with that serve, and he'd hit that. In fact, he had a phrase for it. He called them little yellow bullets, because they would come across that and they go bing like that, you know. And I had no idea how to hit that ball back. And I would sit there and I'd be waiting for the ball, and I'd be saying to myself, okay, now he's hitting it. Now watch your feet. And what are you going to do here? And what if it comes over here? And all that's going through my head. Am I getting myself out of the way? No, I got myself in the way, don't I? If I'm sitting here saying, okay, now I think it's probably going to be the collarbone. But I hope he's not reversed. Am I got myself in the way? Okay, you got to get yourself out of the way. So what I did one day, he came to Sea Ranch where I lived, and we were going to go play tennis there. And that was a place, just like with football, I didn't have a choice. I just didn't have a choice. I mean, I had a choice. I could stand back there with the tennis racket, you know, and try to hit it back. But I had to let go of all of that. I just had to react. And guess what? I get the thing back. I actually beat him that day. I actually beat him. Bing, bing, bing. I wonder where that came from. But do we not all have times in our life when we have gotten ourselves out of the way and achieved at a level that we wondered where that came from? And then we wonder where it went? Right? Okay. But it's still there, isn't it? It's because we're still trying to overlay all of that with our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own whatevers, okay? The other story I want to give you is I was asked in 1978 to go back to my hometown of Riverside, California, and give a speech or give some kind of presentation, because my high school football coach, who's a very dear man to me, was retiring, and 500 guys from all over the country were coming to his retirement dinner. I was asked to be on the dais and so on, but I was asked 1 or 2 days before the thing actually occurred. And what am I going to say, you know? And what occurred to me was to write this man a poem. Now, I think it's the only poem I ever wrote, okay? But I sat down to write this poem, and I was letting it work through me, not by me. And I sat down and started writing it, and I sat down and started writing it, and sat down and started writing it. And while it wasn't perfect, it would just flow. It would just flow. I think it was like an hour and a half or something. It was took 5 minutes to read, okay? But about an hour and a half, and I got the whole thing done, and I didn't even know what I was going to say to begin with. It just started coming out and coming out and coming out, and most of the writing was pretty good. I went back, looked it over for about 10, 15 minutes, cleaned up a little bit of this, looked at it the next morning for about 20 minutes, cleaned it up a little bit, typed it out, got on the airplane and went on down and delivered it. And when I got there and stood on the dais, it was like I wasn't even delivering. It was coming through me, not by. That was in 1978. This is 20 years later. I could recite it today. That's how much importance that had to me. But my point is, not that you need to be concerned about my poem. It is where in your life have you gotten yourself out of the way in your own parallel. That's what needs to be addressed here. Where in your own life have you gotten yourself out of the way? That's what you're going to need to do to perfect it. That's the main skill. Get yourself out of the way and let it flow. And after you get some experience and practice and a few other techniques you'll hear from Bill after lunch, you'll be on your way with this. Whatever happened to our public speaker? Oh.
Another conference over there wanted me.
Were you just waiting for me to introduce you again, or what?
Well, no, I thought you had something and you were going to finish, and then I was going to come in.
Oh, okay. Well, how'd you do out there? Could you get yourself
I couldn't get upset. I couldn't get myself.
Okay.
And I really visualized what went, and also I realized that in the future, whatever I'm speaking to, it's not that big a deal to get so excited about.
Okay, good. There's more of it. There's more stuff, connected to that and intertwined and stuff. But we took what I wanted to do was take the one issue and see what we could do with that using, diagnosis. Now, could I have originally just had him face the audience and do mechanical EFT and probably gotten the result? Sure. Yes, probably so. In most cases, that is true. But in this case, what we wanted to do is to talk, because I had an idea where he was by looking at my thermometer. I was able to diagnose reversal or not. I was able to know that at one point I couldn't get by reversal at all. Very helpful, right? Very helpful to know that, because then we got to get into some more emphatic reversals and have him yell it and so on. And so that was all helped. But I still could have gotten the job done probably with mechanical EFT. This is just more elegant, and I knew where I was better than if I was just doing mechanical EFT. Okay, it's 12:02. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
It is time for lunch. Thank you. One of the rules that I found that's very helpful here is you never, ever, ever, ever question the process. Now, I just said that and you'll do it anyway, okay? You'll say, well, I'm not sure it worked that time, or would it work if, or, because our tendency is to try to override this, because we've been doing it for years. We've been trying to use our own ego, our own. We're trying to do it, have the process done by us rather than through us. We're not used to having it done through us. And those are words. Those are words that we hear, and they sound good, and we all know about that. They're very theoretical, all that, to have it done through you rather than by you, but you'll try to do it by you anyway. Never, ever, ever question the process. What I used to do at first is I would say, okay, like I was dealing with somebody, are they reversed? Okay, now I'll just go muscle test them and see if they're reversed or not. And if I got one thing and I muscle test, I got something else, I say, oh, well then I'm wrong or something's wrong with this whole process. And then I put self-doubt into the whole thing. You've got to let go of all of that. First of all, reversal can come and go in seconds, as you'll find as you're used to all this, and so on. And you will be wrong from time to time. That will happen. The better you get at this, the less wrong you'll be, and so on. But so don't question it. Just let it be and follow what you're getting. And one of the beautiful things about this is as you're following it, some level you'll say, oh, I don't believe that. Like you're dealing with somebody and you're just convinced they're psychologically reversed. But you do this and it says they're not. And then you go ahead and deal with them. And indeed they are. The process just works with no reversal correction. Oh. So you'll get a aha like that or two, a few surprises, a few things that would work contrary to what you might think otherwise. And then you're going to start to get confidence in this. And then you're going to start to say, oh. Then you would Then you're going to start letting go of mechanical EFT and start, as I kept talking about, getting over here into this, and you use this more and more and more and more often, and eventually, except for those places where mechanical EFT, like in groups, for example, or teaching clients how to do it by themselves, etc., except for those cases, you'll just do the surrogate muscle testing or the intuitive. The other thing that I found helpful in this, which has taken me a while to digest, and this actually comes not from anything I've learned through these processes or Dr. Callahan or anyone else. It comes to my spiritual readings, which is A Course in Miracles. That's the spiritual readings that I use. And that is to trust that I don't care what happens as far as the way I assess it. That is, if I was working here with Tom and he really didn't get beyond that one issue of imagining, you know, the blown graduation speech, I'm always assuming that as long as our intentions are in sync, that healing occurs anyway. It may not occur in the manner in which I want to see it, because that's having healing being done by me rather than through me, because I want to see it in my terms. We're working on this. That's the way it's got to work. But it may not be that way sometimes. There may be times when that has to settle for a while, and what we really did was work on something else that I'm not even aware of. Can I prove that? No. I have no way to give you scientific evidence or anything else. It's just my sense of it. And by the way, it's a really nice thing to know, or to get the idea that regardless of what you did, as long as your intention was there, you're having healing anyway, even though it wasn't done in your terms. Okay? So that's another thing that I put together with this. And I do that, by the way, whether it's mechanical EFT or intuitive or diagnostic EFT. Let me see. What else do I want to put down here? I did point out that two people, like two therapists who work with the same client and both get two totally different sequences, whether or not they're reversed, so on. Did I not say that here? Okay, that's important to recognize. All right, now, Bruce, can we give Bruce the microphone again? Would you ask that question you asked before?
Thank you. I just asked the question if you could break down the process for us and take us step by step through each step of what you did with the gentleman before lunch.
Well, I don't remember every step, but I will go through what I remember, and then why don't you just ask me questions, and we'll take it apart in that fashion.
I saw you waving your arm, testing your arm length continually as you were doing each point, and maybe because your back was to us here, I wasn't sure what you were doing with what. So if you could actually, it would be helpful for learning purposes if you could just actually imagine that the client is in front of you and do each step and just say what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Well, you're going to see me do that again and again and again. I hope to have a handful of sessions tomorrow, so you'll be seeing that. It won't all be there. Some of it's being intuitive, but I'm going to combine them both, etc. But let me answer your question more specifically here so we can get a handle on this. First of all, I emphasize again, what I'm demonstrating here is not the way to do it. It is a way. It is my muscle test. Happens to be this arm. Okay. You can do it this way. You can do lots of different things. And I am setting up a set of questions when I'm doing this that I'm getting yes or no answers to. Okay. And I've already set up the protocol for that. It's already in my head. And I don't really say to myself, "Is PR clear?" I don't verbalize that in my head. It's a question I've already know. I don't know how to ask. Is PR clear? You know, but I don't verbalize it or in my head. Just I'm asking that question. Okay. And so if I go long, that's the way I've set it up. That means we're clear. It's a yes for me. Long as a yes. Is PR clear? Yes. Okay. PR clear. If I go short, to me that's a no. Okay. So one of the things I was doing with Tom up here, I remember there were a couple times the PR was clear, and we just went right on into it. And I think he went from a 10 to an 8 or something. That was early on, as I recall it, on something, which is evidence that indeed PR was clear. It went from a 10 to an 8 because there was PR was there. We go stay at 10. Okay. But then another time I remember he was doing the affirmation, etc., or he was doing the affirmation this way, and I kept going like this, asking myself, is PR clear? And I kept getting short, getting no, not clear, not clear. He did that 3 times. Okay, not clear, not clear, not clear. And so that's a good clue to me that instead of just, see, if I had just assumed PR was the problem, okay, and then just had him do that thing 3 times and didn't diagnose, then I'd have gone ahead and I'd have tried to do all the tapping, et cetera, and he'd have told me at the end, well, I'm still a 10. Okay? That made no headway. But now I know, geez, we got a problem with reversal here. I knew that by doing that. So what I had him do then was rub the sore spot and say it very emphatically. In fact, I had to coach him to actually yell it, because most people don't want to yell it. They don't want to do that, okay? I deeply and completely accept myself, da-da-da-da, right? And then I was doing, as he was doing that, I was doing this, and I got a yes. And that says to me we now have it clear. Stop that process then, and we start doing the tapping. How am I doing? Am I clear to you? Okay. All right. Yes. Wait. We need a microphone for you.
Hand. Hand, please.
Right here. Right here.
Oh, okay.
Two questions. How did you test where to tap? And how did you know the level? You were sort of waving your other hand like this to make your level. I don't know how you...
My thermometer, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me answer those questions. I was about to get to the points themselves. Okay. So once we've assessed, diagnosed whether or not we have reversal that's a problem here, and whether or not to correct it, and gotten beyond that, then we need to know, well, which points do we need to tap. Okay. And what I was doing is actually combining intuition with surrogate muscle testing. One way for you to do it, which I didn't do here, so thank you for the question, might be just to start at the top, just as a practice. Start at the top and say, think of the eyebrow and say, eyebrow clear. And if I just said eyebrow clear, so I go short, and that means, oh, we got to tap the eyebrow, okay? And so we tap the eyebrow, and then I go done, and I get a short. So I get eyebrow clear, I get whatever I get, in this case, short. Then I say done. No, we're not done yet. That means I test for the next point. Side of eye clear. Okay, in this case, not clear, so I'll tap at the side of the eye. Done, no. Under the eye clear, in my example I'm giving here, yes. So we don't have to tap it. Done, no. All right. Under the nose clear, no. We'll tap under the nose. Done, yes. Okay? That would be an example of it. Okay.
My question is, you weren't actually touching the point when you were testing. You were just sort of waving.
Well, actually, I was either touching or pointing to it, but you don't need to do that. I was doing that for purposes of cluing people into what's going on here. You know, because I was pointing here. That's what I was doing. But you don't have to do that. I just say to myself under my nose, or I can just feel an itch under my, I can just feel the point. I just ask myself under the eye. After a while, what you do is you let go of all these mechanical things I'm trying to tell you, and after you just fall into a routine for it because you're so used to doing it. Okay. But what I was not doing was I was not starting at the eyebrow, going down, testing each point like that. What I was really doing instead was saying, well, okay, it seems to me like we ought to start with the under the nose. That's what I would say to myself. Seems to me that's where we got to start under the nose. Is under the nose clear? No. Oh, tap under your nose. Okay. And then say, oh, it seems like over here. Okay. Under the eye, under the side of the eye clear? No. No, it wasn't clear. Okay. Are we done? I mean, I would go through all of that. Okay. But I was really using my intuition is to pick out the points, which I'm kind of used to doing by now. But you can do it mechanically down there. But after a while, you'll throw that away and you'll just move to the point. I'm sorry, David.
Yes. Gary, after you test for, say it's under the nose clear, you tap for that, do you test to make sure that you don't need to retap that spot?
I haven't done that, but one of the things I find myself doing from time to time is I do this, and I'm finding myself like we just keep going and just keep going. We have enough other points. I'll start going back to original points. And, we got to tap it. Now, maybe that's because we didn't tap it enough the first time or tap it hard enough. I don't know why it is. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. But I'll just keep doing it. I just keep doing that until I finally get it done. And what done means doesn't mean we're necessarily done with the problem forever and ever. It means we're done with this phase of it. Because then we may have mini reversal going on and some other stuff, other areas of it. And so we had a question here with Betsy, I think.
Hand, please. I saw a hand over here.
Oh, no, Betsy.
Right here. Okay.
Well, okay.
Right here.
I want to go back to the setting it up that you've referred to. How did you originally set it up for yourself? Make those decisions, what was that like? Did you clear yourself? Did you do it in any kind of ritual way? How did you do it?
How did I set it up? You mean like how did I set up the PR clear, for example?
Yeah, how did you decide it was going to be
I made it up. I mean, I made it up. I mean, that's maybe not quite way to say it, but I just said, what kind of question should I ask? one of the reasons I asked the question in this way, is PR clear, is under the eye clear, is because I wanted to set it up so that when I'm short, that means there's something to do. So I arranged the questions in such a manner so that if I'm short, I get to know that means there's something to do. Is PR clear? Oh, it's not clear, something to do, meaning correct PR. Is under the eye clear? No, it's not clear. Oh, short, means we got to tap under the eye. Is under the eye clear? Oh, yeah, it is clear, therefore we don't tap under the eye.
So did you do that intuitively, or did you do that by sort of thinking it out?
I don't think I did that intuitively. You can set your own questions up after a while. Again, I'm giving you a way to do it. Or excuse me, yeah, a way, not the way. Is there still a question on that? Well, let her finish her question. I'm not sure I could.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I would like to suggest that you did do it intuitively, because I think that what happens, because I've experienced these things myself, and I feel drawn to do an experiment on myself. And lo and behold, it's really interesting and very useful, and I don't know from whence comes the feeling to do that, but I just do that all the time. And so all kinds of things have unfolded in that particular way, and I suspect that that's exactly how this happened with you. You may have not realized that it was a deep part of yourself that may have just been awakening, or whatever you can call it. Since we're using only the word intuition for all of that thing, then we would have to label it as intuition. But I think you are the kind that experiments on yourself. You're just running an experiment. Just see what
I probably did do that.
it's like.
But as you say that, as I hear you, something else comes up in my mind. Are you finished? Okay. And that is the original model for this, in my mind, was learning one-on-one muscle testing. And of course, there what you do is you have the client say some things, like, I want to get over this problem. And then you're strong or weak, that tells you whether it's psychologically reversed or not. Okay? And when I originally, as I think about it now, when I originally started doing this, I would say to myself, as though I were the client, I want to get over this phobia. I'm actually saying that to myself, and I'm going long or short, as though we were getting a strong or weak muscle. Okay? I want to get over this problem. But after that, I just said to myself, well, and then when you do muscle testing, you use these alarm points. That's the way it's taught. You know, like for under the eye, you would test here, and you would test whether the arm is weak or strong. That would tell you whether to tap under the eye, for example. And then I finally figured out that you don't need to, for this purpose, you don't need to use the alarm points. I threw them away. You did that too, did you not? Can we have the microphone for Sandy? Why don't you explain that? You discovered that yourself. You just throw the alarm points away. Don't even use them.
Right. About 8 years ago, I started using a technique called neuroemotional technique, which is a chiropractic technique. And they used alarm points, and they were touching on the bodies. And I mean, 8 years ago, when no one else was doing it as a psychotherapist, I wasn't about to touch bodies. So I was doing the muscle test. I touched their arms, but I just said, okay, I'll just say heart, lung, stomach, gallbladder, liver, spleen, pancreas. I just memorized all the meridians. I just muscle tested each one, and I've had great results.
Yeah. Yeah, and you'll notice I didn't use a single alarm point when I was doing any of this. You know, I was just pointing to the point, and we're getting... Bottom line is, do you get your results? Bottom line, remember, lots of things work here. We tried to establish that yesterday, and we'll keep establishing that. Lots of different things work here. And those things that we think are necessarily important aren't necessarily in practice. We don't know that for sure. But anyway, how am I doing on the answer to your question, Bruce?
Okay, well...
Not real good, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand it a little bit better, and I guess some things are coming clearer to me from what you're saying. Since you're asking me, the question comes up. You first establish, you first calibrate what a short and a long arm is for you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and that took me a whole bunch of time and practice to do.
So
I doubted myself.
So like a long arm is a yes, and a short arm is a no.
Yes.
Okay, so if that's true, then if you were to, let's say, this is a good technique conceivably to test oneself for what one needs or what one shouldn't.
So long as you get yourself out of the way of yourself, yeah, and that's the trick. It's easier, I find, to get myself out of the way on behalf of somebody else than it is to get myself out of the way on behalf of me.
So if you calibrate...
Because after all, I may test myself and says I shouldn't eat chocolate. Come on. You know, I don't eat chocolate anyway.
Yeah. So if you test yourself and you establish a long and a short arm for yes and no,
Yeah.
then you change the phraseology of the questions. Like the way you were questioning the points for the client here was, is this clear, is this clear? Yes means it is, and no means it isn't. But then if you were to like next ask questions like, is this good for me? Yes. Is this bad for me? No. Would the same arm signals mean the same thing, or would it have to change?
If I set it up that way, that's what it would mean, yes. What you're doing here is you're finding a metaphorical use of your muscles to tune into intuition, to the other levels that we're not, Bill Toll's going to talk about that in a little bit, you know. But you're tuning into other levels, and all you're doing with this muscle testing, I don't care if you're doing one-on-one muscle testing or surrogate muscle testing, all you're doing is getting yourself a way, a mechanical way to communicate with that other source. That's what you're doing.
Just one other piece, and this is this. You're using muscle testing, surrogate muscle testing on yourself to test what points are needing treatment on the client.
I do it with the assumption that I am the client. I'm stepping into the client's body in my own mind.
Okay.
But by the way, I'm not going through a bunch of woo-woo stuff saying, oh, now I got to move into that person's body. I just make the assumption and go. That's it.
Now here's the problem that
I switch like that.
Here's
yeah,
the
easy it is.
Here's the problem that I'm now having with this. If you're being the surrogate, this is where it's not being logical here for me right now. If you are being the client as a surrogate, then if you were to actually ask the client and test the client's arm, you say to the client, is collarbone clear? If the client doesn't know what the hell you're talking about, collarbone, stomach, whatever, how would it be valid to test the client's muscle in that way?
Somebody here, you must have experience here in the room, so let's give it to Nahoma, who apparently has experience.
I think the way it works, and again this comes from years of clinical experience, is that when you sit down with a client, there is a bridge that happens between your unconscious and the client's unconscious. You may be totally unaware of it, the client is usually quite unaware of it, but it's a fact of the reality of human interconnection. And once that happens, you can muscle test yourself or use your intuition using terminology that the client has no idea of and get an accurate reading because the client's unconscious is on some level reading yours.
However, his question was a little different, at least I interpreted it differently, so let me ask it to you differently. That's you muscle testing yourself in behalf of the client. What would happen if the client had no idea what collarbone meant?
It does same thing.
You test their arm.
It doesn't matter whose arm is being tested.
Is that your experience too,
What
Fred?
matters is that there is that connection, and the client's unconscious can get the material, the information from yours.
Yeah. Yeah, and let Bill add here too.
The picture as I see it, if it is just you and the client, then it's a three-body interaction between you and the client and the universe. So always put the universe in the picture. If you're dealing with a device like a radionics device or something, it's a four-body interaction. If it's an electrodermal testing device, it's you, the device, the client, and the universe. And the universe knows all of these things, and the universe will accept all codes that have been tried, okay, that have some reliability to them for an individual. So it's just a question of accessing a code. So the business of mentioning a name, the universe knows what that means. It knows what the intent is. And so long as you put it in the loop in your mind, and in fact it's good to put it in the loop in your mind because now it means you are activating your highest consciousness or higher consciousness to deal with that source. That's really where the connection, that's the linkage between you and your patient, your client.
And you might also say what I'm doing up here is that's my code. That's my code. That's why I'm saying this is not the way to do it, it's a way to do it. You'll have your own code, and you should have your own code. You don't necessarily need to test this muscle. Test some other muscle. In fact, this is a crummy muscle to test in a client setting. You're going to hit them. You know what I mean?
What are some alternatives in a client setting?
Oh, for muscles? Well, I know what some people do. Here, ask the question again, Thor. What did you know?
In a client, if you're sitting in the office with your client, what are some alternative muscles you can teach us right now to test instead of, that?
Well, you can go around the room and ask those questions, but one of them is this O-ring thing where you test how strong it is or how easy it is to move an O-ring apart. Another is to take one finger like this and push the other finger on top of it and see how hard it is to push that finger down, weak or strong. But it will take you practice. You're not going to leave here saying, oh, I got my yes and no down pat. It's not going to happen. It takes practice, and Bill will tell you why when he gets up here. Okay? Am I being clear? You're not going to walk out of here with the whole thing mastered. You're going to walk out here with the beginning, okay, with the start of it. And you're going to need to find a muscle you want to use and so on to do that. Or you may want to skip the whole thing and just go right to the intuition.
But you have to develop that.
You have to develop that, too. We'll be discussing that in a bit. Go ahead, Bobby.
I think that's where our confusion is that, granted, everybody might have their own code, but how do we get into that code? I think that's what we're kind of asking. You have this, but I mean, what allows us to get into that code?
If I may answer, the thing is that it's important for everybody to develop their own code, because and it's the one that works and feels best for you.
Yes.
And you have to practice it to make the structural circuits, to have them developed at the subtle levels so that you can call on them and have them work in a reliable, reproducible way. Because you're in process. You're the product of the process, and you have to make the effort to build that circuit in yourself. And then it's your circuit, and it is reliable.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily want to use my way of doing it, because you will find, you have to just go practice it yourself. Your own trial and error. Find your own muscle you want to use. Find your own set of questions. You can use my questions if you want.
Let me just add one other thing, because basically these things are all sort of training wheels to help us go from one place to another. And if you like his, it's a good place to start. But once you have one in hand that'll work for you to some degree, I would advise you to spend time feeling the one that might be better for you.
That's what I'm saying, but if you don't, it's kind of like telling a baby right now to just jump out of the crib and start walking. What is the step to find that? I mean, we might all have an idea of what code we want, but how do you find it? Do you ask the universe?
Yeah, there's something missing here. Thank you, Bobby. Something missing because
yeah.
Sharon has asked me a very parallel question to that. I guess the question is, how do you start? Is that did I say it right? Yep. Go ahead. Well, she wants to ask the question.
Well, it's just interesting that we got to this, because this is the thing I ran up to you after the last session and was trying to say.
Gary.
Yeah, really. Which is, if I don't know if it's this or if I wanted to learn this arm thing, my question was, there must be some kind of steps. Now, you stood up there and said that you stood in front of the TV and, you tried it with the long arm and all these other kind of things, and you eventually, and of course my word went to, eventually, did what in front of the TV, that I don't want you necessarily to have a whole long answer for that right this second.
Well, I want to cover it because it's a standard.
But I think that's the block
question.
that's in the room, coming up in several different questions of how you can get to that code.
I have a way to address that.
And how also you can test yourself in terms of the accuracy of that, which was my real problem. That even if I felt I had it, how do I test my accuracy on it? What is it that I'm doing to find out if this is correct or not?
Okay. The first thing you do to answer that last part is you give up trying to find if it's correct or not. Okay. I'm very serious about that. I'm very serious about it. As soon as you keep trying to question it and try to correct it and try to verify it and validate it and put your own ego stuff on it and your own stuff on how it's supposed to work, you're going to have a problem with it. You're going to have a big problem with it. Wait a second. Go ahead.
Why could you not have someone muscle test you to see which one is the right one for you?
Oh, I guess you could. I never thought about it. Yeah. Well, let's get one more over here. We need to get this thing rolling. Over here to Sandy, okay? Because I do want to answer. I do want to give an answer to Sharon's question, and then we need to have Bill come up. We have a lot more time to cover this, okay?
I just one comment. I just want to say that I've been watching what you do, and I think what I see right now is that there's a sense of you being, like when you said, I assume I'm the client. My sense was that you left yourself behind and you're being, there's a sense of being.
Presto.
Presto. That's being is the first thing. Knowing is the second step, and then there's separation. You never leave the flow. You're always plugged in. It's like you plug in. And there's from the way I'm looking at it, there's very little mind, and, you know, I'm using the rational mind in terms of between you and the object. There's not an object and subject.
Well,
Most of the time, you're flowing with the intuition.
That mind or that ego or that overlay or the doing it by me is there, but I have to be conscious. When it's not working, it's always because I'm trying to overlay it.
Exactly, and every time it is working, there's enjoyment. And
Yeah,
that's
there's a
the
flow
key.
to it.
There's a key, and
There's a
everybody
flow
in
to
the room knows it.
Oh, okay. I'm.
So I'll let it go
Okay,
at that.
one more
I
with
mean-
Brian, but then I do. Brian will be the last one because I want to answer Sharon's question. We may have to have Bill come up and get this thing. But we have a full day tomorrow. We have the rest of the day today and other things. I want to make sure you get what you need out of this.
I just think, Gary, it might be helpful at some point for those of us who aren't so familiar with different forms of self-testing, and it appears that lots of people here are, or have different, I mean, I'd never heard of the
Yes.
finger thing and so forth. If we could just get a list of some, perhaps from the group somewhere, that we could practice with ourselves and discover which of these personally might be the
Okay.
best for us to develop to move their
Well-
intuition.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. You will see on the tapes, you know, this and this. I've already shown them they're already there, and they're going to be on the tapes that you're going to get. And those are the only three I really know about. Although you can pick any muscle you want. You can pick your neck like that if you want to. You can just do that if that's what you want to do. You can do an Elvis lip or something like that if you want to. I mean, you can do that if you want. You can. There is no magic to what muscle you choose. It is just what seems to fit for you. Now, I use this one primarily because that's, you know, I saw Roger do that on those tapes. That's what I use, and I'm used to using it. And I really don't know how to do this because I haven't developed the neurology, if you will, you know, to really get a difference there. And so, you know, I use it with all its shortcomings. And so that's what you need to do is you're going to find your own muscle. However, now I want to give another answer to Sharon's question here if I can. And it's something I talked to you about anyway, Sharon, but I want to talk about it here. You all have audio tapes in your EFT course. They are all clients that have issues. And they go on endlessly, do they not? Tons of them. Yes, what you can do is you can take that tape, any one of the tapes, put it in, and there Adrian and I are talking with whatever client it is. They announce what their problem is, and before Adrian or I start using voice technology, okay, and start telling them where to tap or anything, just cut it right there. Now you know what their problem is. You go ahead and tune into them. Space and time make no difference. Just tune into their problem and then start practicing. Reversed or not, you know, start doing it using your own muscle, and do it over and over and over and over again. Record your own sessions with your own clients, with their permission, I presume, and afterwards, 3 months later when you forgot what you did, go play that back again and see what you're doing, and I will tell you something. Almost invariably, you will get a different set at that point in time of, you know, whether you're not you're reversed or whether or not you need to tap here, there, the other place. You'll almost always get a different set because you're at a different point now. Okay, your makeup at that point in time is different than it was to begin with, and so the interaction between the two of you will be different at that point in time. So you'll get a different set. Okay, that's why two different people testing the same person will also get a different set of these things. It's the two of you working together with joint intentionality. So that's one way to do it, and just keep practicing it and practicing it. You can use the set of questions that I have if you want. They're perfectly good questions, and which are already in your manual there or on in your notes. But in time, you'll probably want to adjust your own questions. You'll probably want to add in other questions and other levels that you want to test this with. Okay? And there is no limit to it. You can just keep doing it. Go ahead, Betsy. Here.
I was going to ask before.
Oh, okay.
You have clear and then done.
Yeah.
And it looked like when clear fell short, you asked done anyway, but then you moved on to the next place.
Yeah, I think I did that. I think I did that. Let me go back over that a second. So I'm in the process, and I'm asking. I'm asking under the eye. Okay, I'm short, so it means I got to do something. So I tap under the eye. That's the way I've set it up. Okay, I've set it up, and then I'm going to ask myself, am I done? Oh, I'm done. I don't have to tap anyplace else.
Fell short, and
No,
then
if
you
I
went
went,
to the
if
next...
I say done and I fall short, it means I got more to do.
But
So
you
then
did-
I'm going to
But
ask.
then you went down to the next... Oh, you mean done means, do you have to go down to the next spot?
No, done means am I done with this segment of this treatment?
Of the issue, okay.
No, no, not with that point. No. Done means am I done with this part of the process? Okay. Done. That's the way I set it up. It means am I done with this part of the process? Okay. Do I have another way to say this? Do I have any more tapping to do? Okay. Am I done? So if so it would go something like this. I've already gotten by psychological reversal. So I asked the question. Okay. Do I need the eyebrow point? Or is the eyebrow clear? The answer is yes, it's clear. Okay. Am I done? No, I'm not done. Okay. It's like I haven't done anything yet so far. Okay. Now, is the side of the eye clear? No. Okay. Oh, tap the side of the eye. Are we done? Meaning, do I have any more tapping to do for this segment of it? No. Okay. Is under the eye clear? No. Better tap under the eye. Okay. Are we done? Yes. We're done with this segment of it. Now, we may have many psychological reversal, etc. Also, I may have made a mistake, etc. I want to check with the client, do I not? How are we doing suds-wise? If he tells me he's still the same, I want to check to see if we've got aspects going on, and he's really made some headway, but now he's shifted on me. This is all the art of it, you will. But that's all stuff you do if you're doing one-on-one muscle testing as well. And a lot of that you're doing even if you're doing mechanical EFT, you're still checking with the client and finding out where they are and looking for aspects and so on. Was that any clearer? Was that a help or not? Yes. Okay. Are there other questions on this area? Because I want to make sure everybody gets launched properly. How are you doing, Sharon? Is that all right? Okay. One more question. There's a question back here with Rick, and then we're going to bring Bill up. Okay?
You just talked about PR being clear, not different types of PR. Do you distinguish different types?
Now that's going to be a refinement, isn't it? Because this is what I would do. This is what I would do. Okay. And remember, I'm giving you a way, not the way. But this is what I would do is like when I was dealing with Tom up here, and I kept going, PR clear, no, 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 and then that says to me, well, we've got some other, we got to get by PR somehow. So then I had him yell it, do it much more emphatically. Now, if that wasn't working, then I'd say to myself, well, deserve it? Safety? I would start asking those questions. That's the way I didn't put that down there, but see, that's how this thing would unfold for you in time. I'm giving you the structure, the basics of it. You are absolutely going to need to put your own thing in it, if you can, because that's the way it's going to work. You'll be making a mistake just to try to model it exactly after me. Okay. Okay, Fred. Fred's the last question. Then we'll bring Bill up.
Yeah. One other shortcut on that is whenever you're finding there's still reversal, you say there's another level of reversal here.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you can go safety, deserve, possibility.
Well, to be consistent with the way I'm putting my questions together, I might say
there isn't
other reversals.
Yes.
No. Because I want to set it up. I have never set it up that way. I would just what the question would be so that when I'm short, no other reversal.
No other reversal.
Yeah. No other reversal. Okay.
Yes. Other reversal. Okay. So if it would lock, then you say you could run through safety, all those different criteria.
Yeah. Just so long as you know what your long and short means, and what you get with practice. What you get with practice. It's like riding a bicycle. Bicycles, you fall off, you skin your knee, you don't like the darn thing, etc. But once you get on it, you never forget how to ride a bicycle.